Well, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to my our fifth season of the Buddhist Biohacker Podcast. And this is our 260th episode today. And I'm going to be talking about this year, 2025. It is a transformative year. It is a year full of exciting changes. We're going to be talking about AI. We're going to be talking about aliens, and we're going to be talking about how you can harness the energy of 2025. Welcome to episode number 260 of Buddhist Biohacker. Well, hello, everyone from all across the globe, and welcome in. I am Lisa Gunshore, your host and mystic guide, and I am so happy to be back online. It has been a time of transformation for me personally, and just really happy to come back on here and kick off a brand new year of holding space for each and every one of you. I have lots of new things planned this year, which I am very excited to share with all of you. One of the new features that we're going to be adding to the show is live callers, and that will be coming soon. I have just a few more technical things I have to do. So you will be able to chat live in YouTube, but we will also have a call-in line coming soon for when I'm doing live readings or we're just connecting and asking questions. So with that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, that helps the algorithms so much. If you can do that, that is awesome. And also don't forget, as I am loading any of my new shows, you can set notifications and reminders so you know when I'm going live. I love going live because I love talking to all of you live and in person. So today we're going to be talking about 2025. I know it's almost the end of January. It's a little bit late, but I really wanted to do my due diligence and my research, really looking at the energy of this year and what we can expect and what we want to talk about this year. So as you're joining in the live, please share where you're from. I love hearing that. And if you have questions all throughout, you can post them in the chat as well. So here we go. So we're going to start out. We are in 2025, which is a 9-year in numerology. You add that 5 and those 2 2s and you get a 9. And in numerology, 9 is the completion of the cycle. We run in 9-year cycles, 1 through 9. There's no 0. And so this is a completion year. And I don't know about the rest of you, but that didn't quite fit for me because I feel like it's actually a brand new energy, especially here in the US. We have a new administration. And I know many of us, many of my colleagues, many of my clients, many of us in the community really took a quiet, reflective break in 2024. And so this year feels a lot more expansive. And so we're going to get right into the meat of what I want to talk about today, right out of the gate. So when we think of a 9-year, like I said, completion didn't quite feel right. So I looked up some other words that I feel really fit for this 9-year: culmination, reflection, and I really loved this: preparation for new beginnings. So rather than thinking of this as a completion or an ending year as a 9-year, thinking of it as the preparation, or the year that you prepare for what's next. And because I read the tarot, what is the number 9 in the tarot? It is the Hermit. And so I really want to pull up, let me put this up on the screen here. So we're going to talk about the Hermit from the Osho Zen Tarot. The Hermit in the Osho Zen Tarot is aloneness. And why does this matter? Because I really felt when I sat with the energy of this year that the Hermit, it does represent isolation and polarization. And I do think we're still seeing that this year, even though with some of the changes in the United States, in the political realm, we might feel like we're not as isolated, and that energy still exists. Really, COVID, that was almost 5 years ago now. But a lot of us have felt disconnected from our social circles. And also, I think all of the narrative is being overwhelmed by divisive ideologies, and really dealing with some loneliness. I think there's still some folks who still haven't come out of that energy of loneliness in the pandemic. So it made me think of the Hermit card in the Osho Zen Tarot, which is aloneness. So I have it here with me, and I just wanted to read the Zen commentary straight out of Osho's book. So here we go. When you are alone, you are not alone. You are simply lonely. And there is a tremendous difference between loneliness and aloneness. When you are lonely, you are thinking of the other. You are missing the other. Loneliness is a negative state. You are feeling that it would have been better if the other was there, your friend, your wife, your mother, your beloved, your husband. It would have been good if the other was there, but the other is not. This is it right here. Loneliness is the absence of the other. Aloneness is the presence of oneself. Aloneness is very positive, it is a presence. You are so full of presence that you can fill the whole universe with your presence, and there is no need for anyone. And so, why is this important? I think this is important because when we think of the completion of a cycle, I feel like we are completing a cycle that really came from this COVID timeframe of feeling isolated, feeling alone. We also went through a lot of challenges with the narrative on the planet, and it just put us in a space where I think perhaps we were wondering, we've had to disconnect from friends. There's been a lot of transformation and change. And so this year feels like in preparation for the new beginning, which will be 2026. The idea is to become present with yourself. And just like Osho says, filling your presence, filling the whole universe. How do you become completely present with yourself? And, that to me is the representation of this whole year. And really wanted to share some healing techniques with you all around this. So one of the ones that I listed was embracing solitude as a sacred practice. You can create a sanctuary for yourself, your own private puja, or just a sacred space for yourself. You can also create a sacred hour or 30 minutes where you have this daily meditation or this space for yourself. And so thinking about creating sacred space for yourself to be with yourself allows you to, think about where you're at in your life right now. And it's becoming completely present that allows us to create for what's next and for what is next in our future. So, creating that sacred space allows you to do that. Within this too, we have, still a lot of polarization going on the planet. And so when we think of this archetype, and I'll hold the card up here, but this archetype of the hermit that, it's talking about loneliness, but loneliness can be very transformative. So, when we embrace solitude, when we pull back and we go within ourselves, we can really start to bring our vitality back and create strength. It's a way to generate self-reliance and resilience, which allows you to really be yourself when you are faced with a lot of polarization. So when we start talking about this new year and the energy of the 9, what I thought was interesting is I have 2 decks. I use my Starman Tarot for a lot of world predictions, and my Osho Tarot is kind of the hammer. It's a lot of really good shadow work in here. And so when I pulled out the number 9, because that's the numerology of this year, I pulled out the Hermit, the aloneness in this deck. And in the Starman Tarot, the number 9 is the alien. And man, did that jump out at me. The alien card really jumped out. And there's a phrase on this card: I bring back knowledge from distant places. I bring back knowledge from distant places. And it says, know your worth. Seek the answers within you. Go deeper and understand more of the universe. And so I have a lot to say about the alien, because we're going to talk about AI and we're going to talk about aliens or interdimensional beings or galactic beings, whatever you want to call it. But isn't it interesting that this year in 2025, that these cards, the alien and the hermit or aloneness, is this idea of going within and finding your strength and your power within yourself, and then sharing that wisdom with others. When you think of the traditional hermit card, he's holding a lantern and the light is illuminating his own wisdom, his own face, his own being, versus the light illuminating the darkness around him. And so going back to this idea of solitude and embracing solitude, there's a real call to action here to go within, to shut out all the noise, right? To shut it all out and come into a place of the present moment within yourself where you can seek wisdom within, where you are finding that place within yourself where the answers are. We carry the answers within ourselves, and it's within ourselves that we can start to reflect. And a couple reflection questions for you are: what am I discovering about myself in solitude? And how can I embody transformation in my daily life? And I'd love to hear from all of you, when you have pulled back. So many of you have, what have you discovered in that time alone? And so I'll share a little bit about what I've been up to this past year. We had a pretty significant loss in our immediate family this last year, and it really was a catalyst for me to take a look at where I was in my life and what I was creating. And it's part of why I did go within. I'm a Scorpio with a Cancer rising, so I'm really good at going within anyways. And I tend to, I'm creating a lot, I'm on YouTube a lot. And so I really wanted to take a break and go within and focus on healing myself. What did that look like? And I can share that going within myself, I was able to recognize the patterns that had come back up. And it's a lot of what I want to talk about this year with all of you is, our patterns are our patterns. So I don't know, at this point in time, I don't know if you can actually get rid of a pattern or break a pattern, as much as I think you can come out of one. And once you see the pattern, once you become aware, right? Step 1 in my 4-step process of enlightenment pie, once you become aware, then it's easier to come out of the pattern, but it doesn't mean the pattern isn't there. So I'm going to share with all of you, just to be very honest with everyone, when I get depressed or overwhelmed or my energy gets blown out, my pattern is to keep to myself. I tend to shut down. I'm not very active. And I tend to gain weight. I tend to be emotional, and I just tend to kind of keep to myself. And it's those moments when I'm feeling at the bottom of the barrel that I have the most powerful transformations. And I always come out the other side feeling really great, like I do today. And so with that pattern, I really noticed last year how much I had fallen into this negative pattern with myself, this negative mindset. I'd put on weight. I just really felt like I was carrying a lot of heavy energy, and I was navigating some real challenges from a loss. And so, what to do, right? What to do? So I did exactly what I'm sharing with you. I created a space, a sacred space for solitude, and really started journaling, practicing self-inquiry, and going into the practices that are deeply ingrained with me, meditation, self-inquiry, all those things. And within that, I had to acknowledge how much I was still in a place of a lack of self-love and self-worth. And so when we go back to this idea of the hermit and of aloneness, right? The hermit is sort of this wise one who went on this journey and they become illuminated, and aloneness is this idea of becoming present with oneself and filling up the void with yourself rather than looking for that void to be filled up by the other, which could be food, alcohol, people, relationships, sex, all those things. And so I challenge you to take some time this year to really think about, this new year as you prepare for a new beginning in 2026. All throughout this year, how are you creating solitude? How are you creating daily ritual to contemplate, to think? Like, how often do you get time to really just think? And what are you thinking about? And what transformations are coming from that? What is coming from that? What are you discovering in your solitude about yourself? Now, another thing that's going on, we'll get into the alien in a minute, but I do want to talk about the wood snake. So we're going to bring that one up here on the screen. Let's see here. Okay, there it is. Wood snake. Here is the wood snake 2025. We just shifted into this energy very recently. So the wood snake is about wisdom, intuition, and transformation. So the wood snake, just like the hermit, represents a journey inward and a shedding of old skin to reveal a more authentic self, which is pretty amazing. The wood snake's energy aligns beautifully with the hermit. I mean, it's just really amazing. It's about transformation. When you think of the wood snake and the snake in general, the snake trusts the process of shedding its skin. It allows those old patterns and beliefs to fall away and to come out into a more healthy space, which is really amazing. And so when we think of that wood snake energy, a couple of things here. Let me find my notes because I pulled this out. So one of the things that you can do to bring that wood snake energy in is to connect yourself with nature, and really with nature and your feet. The wood snake is connected to your root chakra. So it's about connecting your feet to the earth and becoming stable. As you become stable within the earth and that strength in your foundation is there, then the release or the shedding of the skin can become even more powerful. So when you think of that idea of connecting with the earth, feeling grounded, and also, trusting the journey of transformation, really trusting that there is something driving you towards self-discovery and to releasing yourself in this space of transformation. So the wood snake really just goes beautifully hand in hand, the hermit and the wood snake. All of the messages are the same. The messages are about coming home to yourself, being present, going within to find your wisdom so that you can step out as your authentic self, creating stillness within the chaos, transforming your fear into insight, and really illuminating ourselves. So really, I loved this correlation between the hermit and the wood snake and how they work together with the number 9 in numerology for 2025. So, just to kick this whole show off, I would say we are in a year where it is as important to go within as it is to take what is inside of you and bring it forward in a very authentic way. So with that being said, I want to get into the alien. Here he is, the alien, and I can pull him up on my screen as well. Go. Window. Where's the alien? Let's see if I can get him up here. So here's the alien. He's kind of tiny on here. So I might just hold up the card too. But this is the alien in the Starman Tarot. And like I said, I bring back knowledge from distant places. The alien represents your own hidden or lost wonder and miraculous powers, the parts of you that have become alien to you, the parts of you that have become alien to you. So here's what's interesting to me. So I pulled these cards out. I thought, okay, let's pull out the number 9. It's 9 year, and I see alien. And I think, oh, wow, because we are really in a time of disclosure, aren't we, with some UFO phenomena. There's been a huge surge in UFO phenomena and folks just witnessing very strange things, right? We have like mysterious drones, and the government has confirmed footage about extraterrestrial life, right? There's been some disclosure happening. So there's been these kind of strange things going on with aliens in our world right now. And so I just want to share some thoughts, and please, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, put the questions in the comments anyways, because I will reference those on my next show. But anyways, let's talk about disclosure and aliens and alien life and all that stuff, shall we? So I know I've had several clients asking me about the drones over New Jersey and what's happening there. And, there's been a lot of files released, declassified information. So there's been quite a buzz. I think this idea that aliens exist is starting to ramp up and will get bigger and bigger over 2025. And I also think this correlates with AI too, because AI has really launched. We have Elon talking about AI and robots, right? And this whole parallel of aliens too. So when you think of aliens and AI, this rise of artificial intelligence, right? We have this huge rise in the use of AI. AI really mirrors the alien's role as a source of like uneasiness, but also transformative potential. So think about that. Think about the fact that this idea of whether it's artificial intelligence or it's aliens, it's a little, you feel a little nervous about it, right? Like it's a little nervous. I had one experience in particular with aliens or interdimensional beings. It was a very real experience that I thought I'd share with you all today. So this was probably 2009, I think it was. And I was in what I call my divorce apartment. I had been recently divorced. I was in this apartment here in Colorado, and I was on the third floor, and I was doing a ton of deep meditative work at the time. So I was definitely highly connected. I've always believed in beings from other places. I've channeled beings from other places. And also, I've had a handful of run-ins as well. And so in this particular occasion, went to sleep like normal. And I woke up with the paralysis. So they talk about that a lot, especially if you watch any stories or documentaries about folks who have had alien encounters. They do this fun thing where they paralyze you and you can't speak and you can't move. And I've come to understand that part of why they do that is because it is such an intense experience to connect with an interdimensional or an extraterrestrial being, that they do that. So nowadays, if I wake up with that experience, I often ask them to please stop that I don't need them to numb me out in order to have the experience. But it's really scary. I'd love to hear if any of you have had that experience as well. It's really scary to have those paralysis experiences when you wake up. So anyways, I woke up. It was the middle of the night. Who knows, probably 2, 3 in the morning or something. I was completely paralyzed in my bed. I couldn't move. And I saw all of these very small alien-like beings. I mean, they were probably like this big. I mean, they were very small, and they were walking all around my room, and there were several of them. There's probably 20 of them. I mean, they were everywhere. And I knew they weren't bad, and it's still pretty freaky, right? Still a pretty freaky thing. I've come to learn that they're called little people, and there's quite a few people who actually work with them. I've seen some of them on YouTube. So I haven't dug deep into why they were there that day or anything, but this was my experience. So they were all around, and I couldn't move, and they were doing stuff all around my room. I'm not exactly sure what they were doing or if they were doing something to me. I'm still not sure to this day. But I had learned a practice to say a mantra. And my mantra at the time was Om Namah Shivaya. And so even in that state, I knew to say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya 3 times to get them to leave. And they all shuffled out my window, and there were lights coming through my window. And because you're in this weird lucid state, I remember thinking to myself, like, there has to be a truck or a car parked outside my window with their brights in the window. If somebody pulled in, I'm at an apartment complex, if somebody pulled in and their brights are in the window. And that was it. Gone, fell back asleep. I woke up the next morning and I was laying in bed thinking about what happened, because it was a very potent lucid experience. And I remember thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, I'm on the 3rd floor. Like, there's no truck that's going to park outside my window. I'm on the 3rd floor. And I looked up and I looked around my bed, and there were tiny little imprints from their walking around all over my room. It was probably one of the freakiest things, because I was newly single and I was like by myself in this apartment. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? So that was one of the experiences that I had with one of my encounters with these beings. I've had several, but that was one of them. And, the reason I share this is because for those of you that have had encounters or have had interdimensional experiences, the energy is creepy. Like, it's not, even if it's safe and it's not a negative experience, it's very intense and it can be very jarring. And I share that because we're moving into this time where there's going to be more and more disclosure, and there's going to be people who have experiences or contact that are not ready for it or that are not comfortable for it. And even those of us who live in this mystical world of all these other beings, it is still uncomfortable to have these experiences. And I know some of you are probably like, oh, I want nothing more than to have one of these experiences. And you might be begging for it. And it's just weird. I mean, it just really is. And so I share all that to say we are going to be having more and more experiences. I had a lot of people ask me about the drones, so I'll address that here with this is my opinion, my own information I've received is that about 20% of all of what's going on the East Coast is actually interdimensional. Most of it is man-made technology. So just keep that in mind. I think what's happening is that we have this weird stuff going on with actual like spy technology, man-made technology that's doing whatever it's doing. And it's getting people excited that they're seeing UFOs or that they're seeing other things. And when that excitement is actually magnetizing or calling in some of these interdimensional beings. So I think some of it is legitimate because I do think some of these beings are coming through and saying, oh my gosh, like, yes, I want to connect with them and they want to connect with us. And how cool is this? But that's like 20% sprinkled into the 80% of all of this man-made stuff. And I do think there's some classified things that are probably going on with that man-made technology. I didn't get from my information that it was anything that would make us unsafe. It wasn't like some kind of spying from another country, as much as I got that it was definitely just some things being tested out and some things being shown. So that's my 2 cents, is that I do think some of this is legitimate, but I think it's probably like 20%. I think the rest of it is probably all man-made. So I just want you to know that that's what I think. And you can certainly disagree, and you can also ask questions and like, what do you think? Like, I'm curious what you all think is going on and what's happening, because I love to read all of your comments, and then, we can talk about it from there. So this whole idea of aliens and AI being part of 2025, obviously, the other piece of this is the transformative piece, which goes back to the Hermit and all the things we're talking about. So there's this uneasiness, there's some strangeness to it, right? It's strange experiences. But from that, there's all this transformative energy, because when you think about AI, like, it can completely transform and is transforming our communication, how fast we can create certain things that maybe we couldn't create before. So it's really pushing. Technology is going to push far beyond the next few years. It's in the astrology. It's also just part of the energy, and it's also part of our ascension. So as we continue to expand our consciousness, this is what we're ready for. So as we go through 2025, I think we are going to see massive expansion when it comes to AI technology and alien disclosure. I think that's really a huge part of 2025. And I think there's going to be things that make you feel uneasy and nervous. And there's also going to be things within it that make you feel like, wow, this is more transformative energy. I read something about the wood snake, which is what year we're in with the Chinese New Year. And, when a snake is preparing to shed its skin, its eyes actually cloud over. And there's this hypnotic kind of cloudiness in their eyes. And I really loved reading that, because here's the thing, like when we think about all of this mixed up, right? The hermit, the inner wisdom and the wood snake, and then the aliens and AI, like that trance-like energy, that is there right before everything sheds away. So I want to think about like the programming, like television programming, all of this stuff that has come to the surface about what, entrainment exercises, brain entrainment, all these things. There's been this kind of trance that we've been under as a human race, right? That cloudiness, that vision, as we start to shed our skin, that's going to go away and we're going to have clear vision. And so I think there's something really powerful about this year, 2025, preparing for a new beginning. We are beginning to shed our skin, and that cloudiness, that programming is starting to go away, and clarity and truth will come to the surface. And that's going to come, excuse me, with in partnership with AI and the alien disclosure as well. So those are kind of my thoughts about all of that. Excuse me, my throat's so dry. In Colorado, it's so cold and dry here. Okay, so in 2025, we are going to face some critical decisions as a human race, because we will want to wield the power from AI responsibly. We want to use it to illuminate our paths, not divide or disempower us. Okay, so this idea of this card, the alien, right here, this guy, let's see if I can hold it so you can see it here. So this idea of the alien, he's a catalyst for transformation. This is an idea too of embracing the alien within ourselves. What do we want to dismantle that's confining us? How do we allow ourselves to be in the unknown and transform from that place? This is our ability to harmonize with the unknown, right? Because that's what's going to happen, right? As we start to know the unknowable, we want to harmonize with it. We want to vibrate with it. So big stuff with AI and aliens, and would love to hear your own thoughts, your own opinions, your comments, questions, because I think we can get into a really deep discussion about all of that. Absolutely. Okay, so I want to just take a moment to think through some of the ways we can take everything I've been talking about and put them into action. So I already talked about, really grounding, being outside in nature, creating a personal sanctuary. You can also write a letter of release, like a couple great questions. What beliefs no longer serve my growth? What fear am I holding on to that prevents transformation? And you can also do a snake shedding visualization. You could picture yourself as a snake shedding old skin and visualize yourself coming into a new, vibrant energy aligned with your authentic self. I think those are some really great things that you can do to support your journey. And thinking about like that cloudiness over the eyes, like where has truth been hidden from me? Where is it being revealed so that I can shed that old skin and move into a new space? So the Hermit, the 9-year, finding strength in the unknown, shedding that old skin and coming into a new awareness is a really, really great place to be. And from here, I want to talk a little bit, let's see where I'm at with time. I want to talk a little bit about some of the affirmations you can use for this new year. So one of them, again, is just trusting your inner knowing. So you can say to yourself, I embrace the unknown as a sacred invitation. I embrace the unknown as a sacred invitation. Another one you can use is, meeting your shadows with compassion. I acknowledge that my shadows, my challenges are teachers revealing what I need in order to ascend. When you think of shedding skin and releasing attachments, I release the material and emotional attachments that tether me to the past. I release the material and emotional attachments that tether me to the past. And knowing that your growth is part of a larger symphony of awakening, trusting that your light inspires others to ascend. There's a great stanza from Shantideva's text, The Guide to a Bodhisattva Way of Life, that's always been with me. May I be a bridge, a boat, and a ship for all who wish to cross the water. And so when you think like your light will inspire others to awaken. And, the idea of self-discovery through that inner stillness. Your answers lie within. So here's a great affirmation for you. I seek stillness to connect with the divine wisdom that is always present within my heart. I seek stillness to connect with the divine wisdom always present within my heart. And so these are just some of my thoughts and my ideas about this new year and about this idea of the journey of awakening. I've written an article that's on my blog that's attached to the Year of Nine and also on my Substack. So you'll be able to connect with that in addition to this video. But, there's 5 key actions that you can take to support the year. So number 1 is embrace solitude. We talked about that, the hermit, right? The aloneness, embracing solitude. And in that solitude, the second one is rediscover your hidden potential. Like, find yourself again. I mean, that's really where I've been this last year, is like, who am I? Who am I? What do I love? What do I stand for? So really when you get into that place of stillness and aloneness, rediscovering yourself, rediscovering who you are and what your hidden potential is. The third is letting go of the old. Let go of that old shit, let it go. Number 4 is connecting with universal wisdom. And there's no better way to do that than going out in nature. Getting out there and putting your bare feet on the earth, touching plants and trees, that is how you connect with universal wisdom. And also within yourself, right? Going into yourself, into a meditation, connecting with your own inner wisdom also allows you to tap into universal truths. And the last one is choose your path with intention. So we're still in January. It's almost over January already, but let 2025 be a year where you are guided by your own inner light. Let 2025 be a year you're guided in your own inner light. So choose your intentions for 2025. And I'd love to hear what your intentions are. Please share them. I'd love to hear them. And so, yeah, so 2025, like, here we go. So, like I said, if you want to dive deeper into these thoughts, you can read my article. I'm writing a lot more this year. I definitely love that. And some fun announcements. My new book, Cherry Pie, will be out for Valentine's Day. So, look for more information here on my YouTube channel or on my website, lisamgunshore.com, for more information about Cherry Pie. And last but not least, I will be back on this channel a lot more. I'm going to be starting a new series this coming week. We are going to spend 22 days moving through the major arcana of the tarot and talking about the occult wisdom of the tarot. I have been reading tarot for 30 years now, if you can believe that. And so we are going to dive deep into the tarot, and I will also be offering live readings at the end of every single show for the tarot. So look for that as well. And we have new guests coming on. So it's going to be a really, really fabulous year. I also want to share with everybody, I have actually lowered my rates given the demand, and I also inflation and all those things. I just think it's the right thing to do. And I have a brand new schedule to support a lot of you who are actually out of country from the United States. So, schedules posted and spaces are open. And if you have any questions or you need anything, everybody knows where to find me. I'm really excited to be here with all of you back on the air. And I look forward to seeing you in just a few days. Thank you so much, and have a really fabulous 2025.